let's acknowledge the good friends of the Loft Party Podcast. The Majestic Restaurant and Pendergast Club, 931 Broadway in Kansas City, Missouri. The J. Rieger Kansas City Distillery, oh so good. Friend of the podcast and panelist, Lane Boland. Managing to keep the podcast going. Apparently wealthy or not. Now onto our regularly scheduled program.
Just not getting it.
I want to welcome everybody out there in podcast land. The Good Times with Good People Company proudly presents the Loft Party Podcast, where it is always about good times, good people, and good talk. Please subscribe to the Loft Party Podcast on YouTube, Facebook, and or SoundCloud. And be sure to tell a friend, hey, and welcome to the party. I'm your host and panel moderator, Rio, and let me introduce today's panel. Now, we've got our returning champion. Of course, that is Chris O'Connor, co-owner of Liquid 9 Broadcast Media Production and a very special friend to the podcast. Returning after some hiatus, we've got the bartender extraordinaire for the Pendergast Club, where, of course, we record the Loft Party Podcast for you, Ben Roberts, and the anonymous female, because she doesn't want you to know her name. So, normally... And I've been doing it on purpose for the last couple of weeks for anybody out there in podcast land who's been listening and wondering what happened to what are we drinking, what are we smoking. I have not abandoned it, but the next time you see it, it may feel a little bit different. So we're going to jump right in with today's Party Files and our Party Line episode, which of course is the week in politics and other ridiculous news. So our first party file that I want to get to, and I'm just going to throw the names out there and say, go, Donald and Hilary. Yeah, so first I saw that Hilary and Donald are going very hard after Ohio. Trump opened 15 offices campaign offices in Ohio alone.
Good grief.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering, which I'm glad our returning champion is here on panel today. When is the last time you remember Ohio being actually in play? Like they always say it's in play.
Actually, the last 3 elections.
Yeah, because I'm like, they always say it's in play, but it doesn't. It's I don't.
They always vote one.
But they always seem like they.
They went for Bush in what was that 2000? Mm-hmm. And the tactic that they used was to throw gay marriage on the ballot as well. So it brought out a flood of conservative Republicans, and that's how he ended up winning the state. Mm-hmm. Obama clearly did well in 2004 there, but 2008 it was a lot more, or 2012. Sorry, it was a lot more contested.
Okay.
So it's very much what Missouri used to be.
Yeah, well, and I guess that's what I was thinking. I was like, being here now for 11 years, I don't even remember the days when this was a contested state. But I remember
when they went after Missouri.
Yeah, but I remember watching the election coverage. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching the election coverage, and it was always seeming that this was a fairly purple state.
But exception is so. I mean, again, if you think about it, it's not different than Ohio. If you think about the division of the state, you have a handful of very large urban areas with very Democratic voters, and then you have enormous swaths of land full of farmers that don't want to lose their farm subsidies, which is ironic, being that they're all voting Republican and taking money from the government for it. So it's just one of those things.
Which is always odd to me, because haven't they billed themselves as the no handout party?
Yeah, that's exactly the irony.
So I just, so I didn't even necessarily want to get into the divisive rhetoric of the week between those two, but I did think that with Trump going that hard after Ohio, do we think that Ohio is that much in play this year, or do we think it could very easily be lost by
is very much in play.
Yeah,
I think the whole country, honestly, they've even said it over and over again. Places that have always been red are purple. I mean, like, you
Utah.
really can't tell.
Hillary's
Yeah.
up in Utah.
which
Yeah.
is ridiculous. I've
Like,
never.
They really are. I mean, it's like
Stunning.
this.
Yeah, that's
This
stunning.
election is going to be. I really think you're going to see a lot of places flip that you didn't expect.
At least go.
I agree.
At least go purple.
Either way.
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause
I'm not.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
red to blue, blue to red. You
Yeah.
know, it's just crazy to me. And I mean, every time one of them opens their mouths, they go down in the polls. And you know, I didn't see it. I didn't see it
Like,
this
if you
time.
just shut up.
Yeah, I didn't see it this before this podcast. But you know, mid last week, Hilary was up by 12 points because Donald just kept piling on the stupidity just over and over and over. Like, just
But it
stop
never-
talking.
Never matters how much you're up in national polls, which is the fallacy of a national poll. People throw them out all the time and say, Democrats always are up in national polls. It's always how it is. It doesn't matter.
She hasn't been, though.
She's been pretty damn close. I mean, she got a great convention bounce and has
Yeah, she
maintained a lot of that lead, and he is, disenfranchised a lot of the Republicans, and it seems the Democrats have gotten most of their act together, or at least, they can tolerate each other again.
I
So-
find it really funny that as every time it looks like the Democrats are united, another thing about Hillary comes out. Like, oh, we can't let you forget about this.
Yeah.
Well, she's got a lot that is going to come out, and it's going to be pretty brutal for her at some point.
Well, yeah, I was just about to say, when do we think that, like, this is already kind of ugly, but when do we think it's going to get brutal?
When Julian Assange releases whatever he has in October, which he already promised to do,
Yeah.
which is too
WikiLeaks.
close to repeat the.
But I think that's bullshit too. I think that the time that if you know the information, then you should put it out. It's not. I think it's a bunch of bullshit to hold on to it until it's kind of like.
Until it supports your agenda.
He is no say
It's
in our
kind of like
governmental
Playboy,
system.
holding on
fair point,
to pictures that women do for years, and then now they're popular, and I'm going to put these out and
Yeah.
ruin your life. I mean, it's just it's
I would argue
stupid
that
to me.
A lot of people have their lives benefited from it coming back out later, but that's neither here nor there. But
I just think
In the
it's
case
wrong.
of Playboy.
I think it's wrong that if you know the information and you're supposed to be just this, they kind of tout themselves as, oh, we only tell the truth and, we research this stuff, but you're going to hold on to it until it benefits you to say something about it.
right, because they're not part of the government. What they are is anti-establishment.
Yeah,
That's the entire point. The entire point is to wreck the system.
Yeah, where
But you
is he
should-
anyway?
but you-
Physically?
In England.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know he's, it seems like he's been bouncing countries for the past few years.
Was for a while, but then he was forced to hole up in England.
Oh, okay. Because I know he was saying, I saw an interview with him not too long ago, it was a little mini interview, and they were saying that he was trying to help set up, or had helped set up, Snowden's defense fund.
Yeah.
Because,
And see, I think that's a bunch of bullshit too.
yeah, I mean, because they were,
That he's exiled, or that are you pro Snowden or against him?
That he's helping him.
You don't like that he's helping Edward Snowden?
Right.
Why is that?
I just don't think what Snowden did was right, and I think that is our government's fault. Mario and I talk about it quite often. We have lately, and there's a movie coming out about Snowden,
Yeah.
and I can't understand for the life of me how a contractor could work in all three areas that he did to be able to pull all the information that he did
Yeah.
and get out of the country with it. It's just crazy to me.
yeah,
That
that
the
kind
three,
of baffled
the
me.
CIA, the FBI, the NSA, like, they had no way to track what he was doing they didn't know that he had worked as a contractor for all. I mean, that's just ridiculous to me. You should never allow somebody to do that.
Isn't this what the Department of Homeland Security was for?
Supposed to be for.
Work together.
But
It was
that,
supposed to be for.
whether what he found was right or wrong, I don't think that anyone should be helping him.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know. I'm mixed on Snowden. Like I say, I think that it is very possible he felt like he was doing something. He felt like he was doing something patriotic. I just don't know if I think that it was.
He seems like an attention-seeking
Yeah.
who committed treason in my mind by not going through the proper channels. If you really wanted to be patriotic, then go through the right channels.
Well, and that's
Exactly.
and that's what I'm saying.
Are
Like,
the proper channels that are in place for this kind of thing actually effective, or would they, been to his demise regardless?
In this day and age, I think you can go around them, and you don't have to do them. I think they would have been to his benefit.
Okay.
He could have went
he
to
would've
he
known
could
who
have
to
went
go
to our news any news agency.
I don't think he should have
could
gone to the news at all. There was
Well, yeah.
classified information in that. It was treasonous to put that stuff out there.
Yeah.
And literally,
And he's
they
still
should've-
doing it.
They should have shot him. I mean, honestly, like treason is the one crime that's defined in the Constitution, and
Yeah.
the penalty is death. And what in my mind he did was clearly treasonous.
which is the reason you're held up in Russia now.
We're technically at war with, because that is actually what treason is. We
Is
have
what?
we have to actually be at war with
Not
the
necessarily
country.
so.
No,
you can endanger a
can
war,
have
you can
domestic
anything.
terrorism,
Absolutely.
and that's what he did.
Okay.
I mean, it was he.
Yeah.
I guess I'm one of the. I mean, I'm not a guest. I know I'm one of those people that I don't need to know every single thing my government's doing.
We weren't at war with Russia when the Rosenbergs stole all those secrets.
True.
Yeah. True. All right. So.
I do have
yeah.
one more note to add on Donald Trump and Hillary.
Okay.
Has anybody read about the Donald Trump's campaign manager in the secret ledger in Ukraine, in which he took billions of dollars?
What?
Yeah.
No, I
Well,
didn't.
you know
This-
something
this
was
just came out.
Something was wrong with him when they asked him about Putin and he was like like he did like it was like gibberish that came out of his mouth. It was hilarious.
Yeah. The word is there was a secret ledger in Ukraine that lists cash for Donald Trump's campaign taken by his campaign finance manager.
Oh, but I'm sure he's gonna say he didn't know anything about it.
And beyond that, in my mind, I'll be honest, it seems no different than the Clinton Foundation funneling shit tons of foreign money into not only their campaign but their personal lives. And then again, selling uranium to Russia. I mean, Russia owns 20% of our uranium now.
You got it.
And again, I find that borderline treasonous too.
Okay.
I mean, my God.
Yep.
Give them the ability to create more nuclear weapons at our expense. That's ridiculous.
Yep.
So, the Clinton Foundation, as you know, we've talked about it many times, I find to be the biggest fraud in the history of the world. History of this country, certainly.
I can't disagree.
Yeah. So it sounds as if before this election, well, and it's not even. It sounds as if before this election is over, we'll definitely be doing many more party foul checkups.
This is truly like one election.
But I think we do.
It's
I
ready to
think we
go.
do need to do one just on Trump and one just on Hillary.
We did.
Well, no, I mean not just the conventions, but
Oh.
like all of the other back stuff that the
Yeah.
reasons people don't like either of them. I think we do need to do.
I think that's the interesting thing. I have never wanted to vote for either candidate less in my life than I do right now.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
fascinating.
I'm not overwhelmed about either candidate. I guess I am of the ilk. I feel like not picking a side is siding with the devil. And so, but I guess it really just depends on who you think the devil is.
Yeah.
So, on that note,
That could have been your poignant words.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you very much. On that note, we'll go to something slightly lighter before we go to something heavy again. Ocean's 8. So I'm reading that they're going to do a reboot of Ocean's 11, but with only 8,
Which was awesome because that was a reboot in and of itself.
Right,
Of the
right.
Rat Pack movie.
And this is going to be an all female cast.
Okay.
So
Great.
now let's read.
You pretty much had that. I was like, that's stupid.
Now let's read who
Stupid. It's going to be.
But it's
done
gonna
by
be
Lorne
even worse.
Michaels, like that's the SNL
When you-
Ghostbusters.
Well,
When
no,
you
like this
hear-
is really fun. Like, check this out.
When you
So,
hear who they are.
Yeah, so Kate Blanchett, Rihanna, Sandra Bullock, Helena Bonham Carter, Mindy Kaling, the from the Mindy
The
Project.
Office and
Yeah, Anne Hathaway, and we still have to look her up. Nora Lum, aka Aquafina.
Yeah.
She's some kind of rapper. I think she was in Neighbors 2, which we didn't wind up seeing. And they're still looking to fill one more spot. And so they were saying that the kind of suspected women they might go after was either going to be Olivia Munn, possibly.
Do you like her or do you like her looks?
She was phenomenal.
No,
in the
she's-
newsroom.
Yeah, I liked her in the
newsroom,
newsroom a lot.
she's super
I did like her in the news.
I liked her in the newsroom a lot.
I watched her when she was on.
Attack of the Show.
Yes.
Attack of the Show was a great show, and she was very funny on it. Actually, whenever she left, that was the demise of said show.
Yeah, I don't think we watched it. I watched it much after she left.
Well, they brought on some other female
I don't even think the
partners, and
male
just none of
character
them-
is even the same one anymore.
No, it's not. He actually moved on. Kevin, I can't remember his name right now. I'm gonna have to.
But
Look
yeah,
it up.
Olivia. I mean,
But
okay,
he's-
go ahead.
he's very
Sorry,
talented,
was
too.
there another one?
Yeah, Kristen Stewart.
Okay. He's
Yeah,
not.
I'm with you.
She could do a
Possibly Jada.
Matt Damon's character. She could totally
She
do
would just
Matt
be
Damon.
sad-faced all
Yeah.
the time, pouting about it.
Well, he's a powder.
Matt Damon is not. He's Jason Bourne, for God's sake.
No, that's what I'm
He's
saying.
a pouty person in that series, though.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
Linus?
No, he is funny, but he kind of is pouty.
But I don't see her being
I think he's
funny.
using pouty
Oh.
as being funny. I find her to be pouty in general in life and
Okay.
irritating as hell.
Okay, I will give you that. Yes, you're right.
A possible Jada Pinkett Smith.
That'd be cool. I like her.
A possible Viola Davis.
Okay.
Which this cast is so all over the place. The possibilities.
Well, they must not have cast like the older. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter. We're trying to fit these people into the characters that we know from the shows now.
Yeah.
It could be completely different.
Yeah, there's an Asian woman, Rinko Kikuchi, when she was in Pacific Rim. She was an Asian woman in Pacific Rim. So, and Gina Rodriguez, who is Jane the Virgin. Like I was thinking, Oh, and the other one that I thought was actually really funny, not a woman. What is her name?
Not a woman. What is her name?
Yeah, no, I forget her first name, but it's no, her last name, Laverne, and I cannot remember her last name. I'm sorry out there in podcast land, but she is the transgender woman on
Orange
Orange is the New Black.
Oh.
Yeah, so
okay.
so those are
Now I could see that her playing the Bernie Mac character.
very possibly.
This is where I think this movie doesn't work, and this feels very much like stunt casting to me, which
Kinda,
which
yeah.
is the exact opposite of why Ocean's 11, the remake, worked. It was people who seemed like they were already real friends in real life who just wanted to have fun and do a movie.
Yeah,
together.
do a movie together.
Steven Soderbergh, and you had George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon. They all hang out together in real life all the time.
Yeah,
And that made a lot
Julia
of sense.
Roberts?
These just seem like just random.
super
people
random
that
people.
they're putting
Yeah.
together to make a movie with all girls. And it's
Yeah,
fun, I
the
think.
chemistry is going to be terrible.
Well,
Yeah,
and they,
which,
Yeah,
which,
they don't
which
seem
I think
to
has been
be
the
wrong.
demise of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yes,
they didn't
they're
have
all
good chemistry.
They're all
Almost
funny.
all of
and
them
they're-
were from SNL.
Yeah, but they were all different seasons of SNL, and then Melissa McCartney, she was never on SNL. So I just think sometimes...
Well, she's hosted so many times.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody
true.
was a guest star and hosted on that show, and I think they probably shot their cameos during the week that they were there.
During the week that they were there.
I had a lot of people tell me that,
So
they
it
saw
says-
Ghostbusters and that Chris Hemsworth was their favorite part.
It says
He's
Gary
hilarious.
Ross is the director and Olivia Milch is the writer.
Okay.
I don't
That's
know
interesting,
who. Like I don't know off the top of my head what they've
Yeah,
written or directed. So
I just thought it
It's
was a
interesting.
very odd and interesting one that they're rebooting it again.
So
and then,
soon, too.
Yeah, kind of so soon, and
Yeah.
then two, wanting to reboot it with an all-female cast, and then it's not 11. I just like all of it seemed a little, like you say, just like they're just reaching to me.
well, to me,
So,
if it's not Ocean's 11, it's not a reboot.
yeah.
It's just another. How do you
Yeah.
call it a reboot when
It's a gimmick.
it's just another piece of like.
Yeah, I'm like, if somebody
Is
gonna
it
be-
taking place in the same time period as Ocean's 11 did? I mean,
They all took
like.
place in different time periods.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if,
The first one took place
somebody's
in
going
the
to be
60s and-
Danielle Ocean. I'm like, I
Okay,
don't.
so just so you guys know, when you say so soon, Ocean's 13 came out in 2007.
True.
Do you
true.
feel like that's really so soon?
9 years?
Kind of, yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't. Yeah, I guess I didn't think that it had been almost 10 years.
It
So
feels like it hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
And plus it's all over TV.
TV
It's
all the
over
time. Yeah,
HBO.
yeah.
In fact, I saw it
We want
probably
it-
twice this weekend.
I was gonna say I know at least one of them we see at least once or twice a month.
Yeah,
We'll catch
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, I saw
absolutely.
the third one twice this week, the one with Al Pacino.
right.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
is my favorite one. I love
Yeah,
it.
actually, I love
I know
that.
they
one.
make
Great.
that poor guy. Anyway, we're
Yeah.
getting off topic. I love those movies.
All right, so back to something slightly more serious. The kind of horrible state of emergency in Louisiana with the flooding. I thought with Katrina, possibly we had seen
But it's not
the
the
last
same.
of this type of flooding.
It's not the same issue. It's
no, it's
because
not.
the rivers are all overflowing. We've had so much rain
Yeah,
that
and
it's all
it
coming down.
and it is a bowl. I mean,
You know.
that general area, it is a bowl.
I mean,
so.
it wasn't. It's not man-made issues.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
truly natural disaster
Unless you're
issues.
gonna argue global warming is causing the change in weather, blah blah blah.
Well, I don't want to go down that
That's
rabbit
sad.
hole. That's a whole nother podcast.
that's
I
a-
agree with that. That's the
But
end.
it's not because a dam broke or anything like that. It truly
This is true.
is.
No, this
because
is-
the rivers
yeah.
are flooding.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I think it's just a poor choice for a metropolitan area for just the location topographically.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and if sea levels do continue to rise, it's just going to disappear.
I mean, I love that area more than almost any
Yeah.
place in America.
It's-
But my God,
well, pretty much
like,
Florida,
I love it.
Even for
California.
history alone.
It wouldn't surprise me if the whole Gulf Coast area, but I mean, they're already. My aunt lives in California, and oh wait, I'm going off topic again. I was going down the global warming.
You were going down the road right now.
Let's not talk about that.
Like not this podcast.
That would be an interesting.
Let's keep
one.
our topic.
Yeah, like I say, we will do that one day, but not today.
Yeah.
They said they've rescued at least 1,000 people so far, and just our hearts and prayers go out to all those people down in the Gulf Coast, because between floods and tornadoes and hurricanes and you've had it rough, man. And
Anybody see the video of the woman being pulled out of the back of the car? Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
convertible,
yeah.
soft top convertible.
Wow.
That was in the
Yeah.
Philippines, though. That
Oh,
wasn't
was?
in.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going through this a huge issue in the Philippines right now with horrible flooding. Oh, you know what? No, that
No,
wasn't.
yeah.
That was Louisiana. They talked about them both this morning.
Yeah, because they actually identified the man who did it.
Annie got her dog. She was
Yep, and the
she
dog.
was gonna drown herself again,
Oh, in about-
trying to get her dog out too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God,
she was
my
like, "You
dog."
gotta get my dog." Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But
Brutal.
Yeah, they caught all of that. It was all
20 or
caught
30 more seconds
on
should have been
camera.
done.
Or
Yeah.
video by somebody.
Yeah.
Not camera, it was definitely home
So
shot video.
this is something that baffles me, is that you have the wherewithal to stand around with the phone and record this stuff, but you don't have the inclination to help.
Well,
I am always blown away by that.
Yeah.
this is true,
Yeah.
but in this case, there were already 3 people, the car was sinking, the guy was already there, and it was
granted,
captured.
there's a million
But yeah.
videos that are like, why are you recording this? Why
Yeah.
don't you
Yeah, jump in.
stop being a
Yeah, it's
jackass
just not
and
my
help
first
them out?
Yeah.
thing to think about. Like, oh, I better get this.
Well, yeah, and I think about
I don't go there immediately. Like, dude, I better go try to help
Yeah.
that
yeah, well,
person.
and
What
I
can I
think
do?
about that
Yeah.
even with regular journalists. I'm thinking like you're witnessing something horrific. I don't know if my first thought is, "Ooh, I better capture this." It's like I need to help.
but that is what journalists do.
I mean, yeah.
They're at some point, yes, you have to put the camera down and help. But if people are helping,
Yeah, no, people
you
are
keep
helping.
filming.
Listen, you're not a citizen journalist just because you have an iPhone.
No, and I think that's different. I think
Yeah, no.
true journalists, that is what they're there for. They're there to capture what's happening.
Yeah.
The person with the iPhone, no.
Yeah, I'm just always baffled by it.
But that also, to me, is it depends on the situation.
Sure.
Because I think if you're witnessing violence or something like that, then yeah, I hope somebody is there that captures it. But
It depends on if they've made an effort to
Yeah.
help the situation first or not.
Yeah.
I mean, you could certainly make the argument that the Arab Spring started because people were uploading videos of rioting in the streets and violence, and it's kind of just spread very, very, very quickly
Yeah.
for the good and the bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it also leads to amazingly unnecessary riots and other violence,
This
you
is
know,
true.
before anybody knows what really happened. And just because you shot something on your iPhone does not mean that you know what happened.
Yeah.
You're very
Context.
Yeah.
Yeah, context is the difference between a citizen with an iPhone and a journalist. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
sometimes.
sometimes journalists
yeah, don't have any context
make, well,
either.
and they make their own
Or
context.
make their own context,
Which has
yeah.
been obviously prevalent in recent
Yeah, that's the truth.
times.
So I saw a few more party foul stories. This one just made me sad because the geek in me was like, "Oh, I can't believe this is true." The actor that played R2-D2 has died.
Yes.
Yeah, Kenny Baker. Right?
Yeah. So yeah, that was. I was just like, wait, what? But like so.
We have at least 2 more movies.
I know. I was thinking, I'm
He
like,
was 81?
yeah, he was 81.
That's really cool though that he got to see him
Yeah, but he
one
was-
more time, come to life one more
One
time.
more time, yeah. But he,
Yeah, short little dude like
yeah,
that.
he wasn't even 4 feet tall. So
I don't know the proper vernacular for it anymore. I don't
Yeah.
even
A
know what
little
they call
person.
it, whatever.
Yeah.
I know people who don't like that, and well, yeah, whatever. Everybody knows. I mean, that's amazing to live that long.
It is.
Given
That's
that
almost
you have
unheard
health
of, yeah.
operations, yeah.
Yeah, in these days and times, yeah, it was, like I say, it just kind of, made me sad because not only was he part of the Star Wars franchise, he had some appearances in Time Bandits and Flash Gordon,
Yeah.
and so
Flash Gordon.
Wonder
Yeah.
what Peter Dinklage is
Gordon.
thinking right now.
job opening.
Exactly.
Aw.
I'm up for every and win them all.
I know he can leave one legendary series and go to another.
It's not over yet.
Yeah, this is true.
He's still alive.
This is true. He has not lost the Game of Thrones.
Sorry, spoiler alert for those of you that haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So on to the, as I put on the podcast agenda for today, the Olympics. Shaking my head. So, first of all, this is...
Can I just say, I did not, this is totally girl in me.
Okay.
When did he bleach his hair blonde?
For
Ryan
this,
Lochte?
for this
Who?
Olympics.
Ryan Lochte? I'm like, you look stupid.
Has nothing to do with nothing.
He pulled off his swim cap and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went.
Not that I liked him anyway. He's kind of a dipshit, but you know, he is an excellent swimmer.
This is true. It's true. So the reason
I couldn't do what he does.
We're mentioning Ryan Lochte first is, of course, he and 3 other U.S. swim team members were robbed at gunpoint in Rio over the weekend.
Did that turn out to be legit? Because
Yeah.
Yeah. So
actually,
the IOC was trying to deny it, and then it came out that it was true.
Well, and
so they've
even,
been letting Lochte do his interviews.
Got it.
One of the Good Morning America anchors that was over there, she said that one of their vehicles, they tried to get them to stop, and she was like, "No, you keep driving."
Yeah.
So it's happened.
I guess the assailants were trying to dress up as a security force or...
They were dressed
police.
up as police.
Police, yeah.
And stopped them and had them down on their knees.
Yeah, they were telling them to get out on their knees or whatever, and Ryan was like, you don't have any reason to pull us over or whatever, and so they click, gun to the head.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, I'm getting down.
Congrats for holding the Olympics in one of the world's poorest countries that you can afford it. That's rife with crime. So,
Which is
not to mention
can't believe it.
hosting, a virus that we have no vaccine for right
Yeah.
now. We're going to bring travelers from all over the world.
Yeah, which
idea.
Thus the shaking my head.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, every time the Olympics comes around, there's always amazing things that you see.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you'll always remember and all of that good stuff. But these last 3 Olympics, winners and summers, I'm starting to, and we saw.
I think we'll have some, the same thing that happened with FIFA. I think there'll be some investigations, and especially after this one and the, all the bullshit that happened with the Winter Olympics in Russia.
With Sochi, yeah. Because people are, they were bringing in illegals to do the work, and if they died, whatever, because they weren't even citizens anyway. And then in Rio, they displaced 80,000 people to build the.
Really?
Yeah, to build
the Olympic Park.
Build the Olympic Park and all the stadiums and.
Violently.
Yeah. So, and I think that's the.
You wonder what they displaced them from, to be perfectly honest.
Well, it was all favelas that they tore down.
But the thing is, that's their home, though. I mean,
Listen,
and 90% of Rio is.
Here. Eminent domain in America, it happens all the time. You can have your property taken anytime you want, although America is supposed to be based on property rights and come and yank it anytime they want to.
Yes,
And
but I
we
think
would do
it's
the
kind
same
of
thing.
ridiculous to do it for the Olympics when that's supposed to be brotherly love type shit.
Not unless you're counting on billions and billions of dollars coming into your country and hoping to keep it remotely economically stable.
Yeah, I think the problem for me with the way that they do the sourcing for the nations and is that it may bring in billions of dollars, but the Olympic parks in almost every city sit vacant and unused, and then it takes them forever to go back to that city.
Yeah.
And oftentimes the IOC
You almost never go back to that city.
Yeah, oftentimes the IOC wants you to rebuild brand new state of the art.
And what were we watching? What were we watching where they were talking about the ridiculous demands of the IOC?
Oh, was that a real sports?
Like they had to have their own lane to drive in. Nobody else could drive in it.
Wait,
they actually
just the
showed
IOC
a
officials,
picture.
not the
Not even the athletes.
Yeah, not the athletes, just
But
the
they
IOC
showed
officials. Right.
they showed a road in Rio where it was completely empty, and all the rest of them were backed up.
Completely gridlocked.
And it had an Olympic symbol in it.
Yeah.
Like and they
Before
wanted
we
to
just
have
say
a
it's
separate.
unreasonable. I would say, listen, those guys have to get to the events. They have to be there. There's no way of getting around that. You can say, give me a helicopter and make sure I get from event to event on time. They can't sit there in a traffic jam waiting in what
But the
stadium full of
Olympic
120,000
Park
people waiting
is,
for it.
everything that had to do with the Olympics is in this one little area. So I'm not really sure why they needed their own lane on a highway, because basically it was to get them from the airport to the Olympic Park.
Makes sense. I'd ask for it too.
Or they should just fly in the day before.
That's why I love Chris. He's like, I would ask for it too. So.
It was just all kinds of craziness, though. I mean, that's just one example. I mean, it was just,
Yeah.
it was unreal. It was like almost as much money was spent on what they wanted. And a lot of them are royalty.
Sure.
They got their commission or whatever by inheritance. And I'm like,
But imagine the security you have to provide, how expensive that is. You can't just be, some Saudi Arabian prince sitting there stuck in traffic on I-35. How are you going to be protected?
why is
It doesn't work
a
like
Saudi
that.
Arabian prince even on that kind of committee?
I think they ought to be, because they know what the country's resources are, what it can handle.
I think it goes back to, that's just another way for people to grease pockets and get what they want. And that's how you
and
end
that's
up
the
having
way
an
everything
Olympics in
works.
Rio.
That's the way everything works, and I have no problem with that. Like, at least there's not a bunch of we talked about this slightly, is tangentially related, slightly, but it's the same reason I don't want morons on juries. I don't want some average yahoo picking where the Olympics are going to be. I'd rather be a place where you can buy off the government, get the thing done, get it set up and ready to roll, and then go. And that's how you have to get stuff done, let's be honest.
So you displace 80,000 people and make money for the government for a month.
Yes.
And then that place sits abandoned for the rest of forever.
Yes.
And that's okay?
It's fine by me. Atlanta did pretty well with their stuff after the Olympics. They did.
I think Atlanta is
France
the only
actually did
place.
extremely well.
Isn't Atlanta
one of the
and
few
Utah are one of the only places
Utah.
that ever repurpose their stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to all those stuff, and
Yeah,
Utah.
I think we do,
It's awesome.
America, we do well repurposing things.
Now, I
A
do
lot of
have
the
to
countries
admit,
don't.
on the other
I think I'm
hand, they
going to
have
both
said
countries,
Yeah.
that they are planning on turning quite a bit of that, at least the
Olympic,
the places where
living
people,
village.
the living space, they're actually going to turn that into places for people to rent or buy
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing we don't do. We do it constantly.
I just feel like it's different when it's already a poor nation that does it.
For some reason, that makes it more okay to me.
All right, we need to move on. Chris and I can go back and forth on this all day.
Real quick ending
Yeah.
quote from a Rio Games official on the green diving pool. Chemistry is not an exact science.
Wow.
They already figured out it
In
was
fact-
algae, idiot.
In fact,
Wow,
chemistry is
that
an
is-
exact science.
That
Well,
is,
they tried to use chemistry to correct said problem and failed at that.
That is
so,
hilarious.
I think the one thing that really bothers me even more so than anything, they actually were showing how raw sewage was just flowing down
Oh, in the
behind
favelas,
people's and into the place where people are swimming every
Oh,
day.
you mean like Lake of the Ozarks?
yeah.
That's right. 'Cause everybody's crap drains right into the lake,
Yeah.
and they had the E. coli scare too.
And then people
Yeah.
just jump in and go swimming.
All right, moving on.
So with all that said,
Point, counterpoint.
with all that said, I think we're going to move to this week's party favors. I definitely did have a couple more party files that I could have discussed, but I think we'll move on to today's party favors. And the first, I want to say just a couple of heartwarming stories, because you don't find that many of those out there in the world. I found this story about the Chinese divers that got engaged on the medals podium.
I saw the video.
Yeah, she the girl Heezy, yeah, I believe is her name. She medaled She got a silver medal, and then her boyfriend, who's also a swimmer, Ken Kai, I think is how you pronounce it, proposed to her while she was on the silver medal podium. I thought that was pretty
That's
cool.
awesome. Good for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, but the picture is amazing. This dude is crying harder than she is.
Well, she's covering her face, so you don't know how hard she's crying.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's got the ugly cry
yeah,
face.
he got the ugly crap, man. He is happy. He is happy.
He was so nervous the whole time.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. How many Chinese do you think were watching?
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
while this medal ceremony was going on?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I wonder if they were
If he
upset
screwed
that
up,
they
would've
did.
shot him when he got back in.
Yeah, yeah.
You disgrace us.
So I want to send a couple of shouts out because these are just kind of historic things. One, Simone Manuel. She won the first black female ever to win gold in Olympic swimming. So that was a huge deal, and so I definitely want to mention that. And she also looks like she's about to go into the ugly cry.
They all
Yeah.
were this time. Oh yeah, she's totally ugly cry right
in
there.
her picture.
Oh my god. That's truly historic. That's great.
Yeah, the first female, first American woman, period, also happens to be African American, Michelle Carter, to win gold in shot put. So not only is she the first black, she's the first female, period, to win gold in shot put for America. So I thought that was pretty amazing. Alex Rodriguez is retiring, or should I say,
At this point,
has retired. His last game was in a victory over the Rays, 63, and I know that he has had a colorful, that's a good word, colorful career, full of ups and downs, scandals, and supermodel and A-list actress girlfriends. But he retires from the Yankees seemingly unscathed. And
Isn't he going to help
I think he's going.
coach or something?
No, I think he is going, and he's actually good at it. I think he's going to commentate.
Right.
Yeah, and he's actually pretty good at it. So, and I hope he does. They said he left his options open to possibly go to another team, but I sincerely doubt it. I think he's going into commentating.
CNN is reporting that he's going to become a Yankees instructor as well. But he could also do both.
Yeah. That with that type of job, he actually could do both.
Yeah.
And that would be, I think, the best end for Alex's career, because he's had a long one.
Does he
I
need the Hall
want
of
to
Fame or
say,
not?
22 years.
I think he will.
You think so?
I think he will, but I think it's going to be
longer than anybody else.
I think it's going to be bumpy, for real, bumpy to get him there. But I think he'll eventually get to the Hall of Fame. I do.
Yeah, I think.
But your question is super valid, because of course he has had scandals with steroids and
Well, they just changed the rules about how you get into the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So they have reduced the amount of time that the writers get to vote, and they have now made it much quicker that baseball veterans, that make it the veteran committee, get to vote. And so you're starting to see the reintroduction of Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds and those guys in the veterans committee now. And it's like, what do those guys think of them? And that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Because the writers, I think if it was just left to the writers like it has been, they'll still toe that line of you cheated and blah 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 and forget it. And I
Because
just
Mark
think,
McGwire obviously had his issues as well.
well, Barry Bonds,
Yeah,
they're all on the same boat. I mean, But to me, I mean, one, I don't think they did anything wrong to begin with, but then B, I just think good. I mean, these writers who are just a bunch of punks who have no real stake in the game at all.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that they get a say in any way, shape, or form is ridiculous. They're the same people who kept Satchel Paige out of being, or not Satchel Paige, but Buck O'Neil out of being in the Hall of Fame. And he truly deserved it, which was one of the biggest travesties in baseball. So, no, baseball's such a ridiculous game. Sometimes.
When you say writer, are you saying like RIDER or like WRITER?
Sports writers for
Yeah, okay.
newspapers.
Which I've never
why they
understood
were really allowed
why
to
sports writers.
Yeah,
be in
I-
authority on
That's
that in the
weird
first
to
place.
me.
I
Like,
get it. But then that's who used to determine the national championship in football as well. Like,
that's
they get
just
votes
odd
and
to me
too.
that it wouldn't be made up of like past players, current players,
It would never
like
be made
people
up of current
that,
players.
yeah, coaches.
Coaches is interesting because coaches do get a vote in the national championship polls now, which is interesting. But as baseball's always been concerned, it's always been, I want to say 10 to 15 years where the writers were the only ones who got to vote, and then you went to the Veterans Committee after that.
Wow.
Cool.
So, and they can only take a handful of people each time.
Did
so.
not know that.
Yeah, it was super interesting. And I didn't know all that much about it till just the other day when I heard it.
I think that's baseball is just so bizarre anyway. Like I never understood like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think like in football, the worst team gets the first pick the next year.
Right.
Well, baseball's that same way too. When it comes to
Baseball
the
gets
draft.
more money. If you win, you get the more money to recruit.
Well, no,
The-
they have
the
a salary
lower
cap.
teams-
Everybody has a salary cap, but it's just that a lot of markets like ours can't afford to go anywhere near the salary cap. And then if you overspend the salary cap, you pay what's called a luxury tax, which is divided amongst the other teams. So I want to say it's somewhere around $225 million is what they had originally set it at. Yankees 1 year spent $300 million. They divided the $75 million penalty amongst all the other teams.
But
And the
the
Royals-
Yankees can't afford.
But keep in mind, the Royals used to be huge recipients of luxury tax money. And so you had George Steinbrenner going, you're not spending it on your payroll. You're taking this extra money that you're getting and just pocketing it. You know, and still keeping a $40 million payroll.
Yeah.
And so that's a bunch of crap. He's like, there's a reason I bought the Yankees.
Yeah.
I can afford it.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Yeah. So I think last but not least, I think the one story I was kind of most excited about and have the most trepidation about. CUBA, ladies and gentlemen, CUBA. CUBA prepares for onslaught of American tourists as commercial flights open up. So, one, wildly excited that CUBA is opening up and we'll be able to go and visit. And
That's the trip
I
we're gonna
want
take
to
next year.
get to Cuba like
Now.
fast, like yesterday.
I
But
can't even imagine how much the flights are right now.
yeah, but you know, as we were kind of talking about before the podcast started, the thing that scares me about Cuba opening up to the world finally is how it will change Cuba. You know,
I don't think it scares me. I
the
think
American,
it just makes me sad.
the Americanizing of.
Well, it's
you know,
not even
not that I don't
Americanizing
think
it.
that they need to come forward in time some, but I think the thing that fascinates a lot of people about Cuba is the fact that it has basically been stuck in 1959
Sure.
forever.
Well, it's just the atmosphere. You don't have all the crap that you do in other cities.
Yeah.
You know, you go there, or at least what you if you know somebody that has been able to go, or if you believe what's on TV, which who knows, but it just seems like an easygoing place.
That is insanely wrong. That's really nice to think that. They still throw you in jail for being, I mean, they have hundreds of thousands of political prisoners there. They have murdered more of their own citizens than probably any other country since World War II. You can make a very good argument about that.
Wow.
If you wanted to.
Well, yeah.
It's horrific. They don't allow dissent of any kind. It's a communist country. That's what they
It
are.
is.
And so it remains there. Yes, it's nice when you go from France to the vacation destination that they have and they put on a good show for you. But man, I want to live there in a million years.
Yeah, live there is another story.
Well, I mean, it's an odd notion of, do you go to a place that supports just randomly killing their citizens for political dissent? I don't know. This is why a lot of Cubans have problems with it, because they've had to flee the country at risk of death and all the hardship to get over here and start over and do all that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, screw it, let's just go, let's open up relations. And well, they haven't really done anything different. I mean, they're banking on things changing after Castro dies, but who knows?
Yeah.
You know? So we'll see. I mean, if Cuba changes their government around, then great. And I'm dying to go. I'm 1,000% in favor.
Yeah.
What I don't want it to do is turn into Orlando.
Exactly.
Which is my fear. I'd like to see Cuba develop as Cuba and maintain its charm.
Exactly.
And literally not turn into, an all for one reclusive resort,
Right.
where all these yahoos go and get married on the weekend and that's it.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. I definitely governmentally want to.
You don't want to see a McDonald's and a Starbucks and a.
Nah.
I mean, how many places do you see in other countries that look just like Key West or
Miami
or
out
something
there,
like that?
yeah. And I can see that happening
That's going to happen.
so quickly, so.
I mean, that'll be a must. That's just going to happen. It happens in every other country with nice beachside property.
Yep.
Yeah, so out
That's the
there in
part
podcast.
that makes you sad.
Yeah.
Is you kind of wish that
Yeah.
you could see it before it gets like
Sure.
that.
I mean, that's why I'd want to be on one of the first flights.
Oh yeah,
Just
absolutely.
Check it out.
Yeah, within the first year, I would like to go because
One of the good friends of our show, Ryan, Baby, who owns the Rigger, he got to go down there and was one of 10 people in the world that was invited down to a rum factory down there.
Oh wow,
last year. And they
Awesome.
said it was amazing, just stunning.
awesome.
So yeah,
That's
it'd be
exactly
fun
where I
go
want to
down
go.
there.
I want to go down and check out the room scene. So
Yeah,
we gotta-
incredible.
We got to get Ryan actually on the panel one day. I would love to
He's had some
talk to
stories.
him about his time in Cuba. That would be kind of cool. And actually, I would really just want to talk to him about Rieger and what kind of prompted him to get that kicked off and everything. So, but that is neither here nor there. Anyway. We've actually touched on quite a few subjects today, and I want to, of course, thank our panel for being here, as always, and I want to thank you out there in podcast land for listening. If there's any of these stories that sound intriguing, please don't be afraid. Go do the Googles. And as the anonymous female gives me the look, I don't even need to look at her to know she's giving me the look for saying the Googles. Go do the Googles and research them, because there is a big bold world full of stuff going on out there, and we like to try to talk about it and bring you a little bit of that flavor. But it is time for us to go, and with that, I'm going to end this podcast with the toast that started it all for me, and that is to good times with good people.